What's up, everybody? We're back again with another one of my amazing 2 weeks to Trademarks alumni, Elisabeth Pickle, the one and only. How are you today?
I'm much better now that I'm here with you. I'm doing well. Thank you.
I am so happy to have you. Thank you for taking time out of what we know now is a very busy schedule, and you have a lot of places to be. So thank you so much. Yeah, I'm so excited to feature your story. We've been trying to do this for a long time, so this is exciting. So let's dive right in. Let's quickly introduce, just tell everybody who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into some questions.
Sure. So I'm Elizabeth Pickle, and I am the owner and founder of Mindful Counsel. We are I used to say we're a boutique law firm in North Scottsdale, Arizona. We're growing so fast, but our specialty is estate planning, intellectual property, and business planning. And we kind of refer to it as the power of three or the trilogy. And so we are known for our very advanced planning with respect to intellectual property. Oh, there goes my lights. I hope I get to pay the bill. Just kidding. But yeah,
Awesome.
anyhow, that's what we do, and we're having a blast doing it and doing some good things for people.
Amazing, amazing. So you started out doing estate planning, right? And then transitioned to adding trademarks and business planning afterward, or and to get to where you currently are.
That's right. That's right. So I've been doing estate planning for over 20 years. And I'm originally from Maine, and I started my practice in Maine. And I'll tell you that when an estate planning attorney goes out and hangs their own shingle and starts practicing in estate planning, it's very rare to obtain clients who already have IP assets. I just happened to be very fortunate and attracted some clients who had intellectual property. So I understood right away the importance of incorporating IP into your estate plan. A lot of estate planning attorneys don't understand that. And that's not to throw any shade at them. They just don't have the experience. And so, we became very adept at helping our clients plan for their IP. But then when our clients would ask us, oh, by the way, I'd like to file for another trademark registration. Can you help with that? I'd say, no, I have no idea how to do that. Yeah.
Okay,
And so
okay.
that's where we were. Yeah.
So you started getting enough questions about it where it got you thinking like, hey, maybe I want to explore this a little more.
Yes. And so we thought, does it make sense for an estate planning attorney to also open an IP practice, marry the two? Of course it makes sense. Of course it does. What a beautiful dance that is. And so when I closed my practice in Maine and moved out to Arizona, we continue to receive so many business clients with IP assets. That's when I started the search for a mentor to teach me intellectual property law.
Amazing. Okay. Okay, this is getting good. So, how did you come across me, my website, my course? How did you find me?
So I certainly went on to the Arizona State Bar, and I did my research as far as intellectual property training for attorneys. It's really not really a good place, I think, to learn the the meat and potatoes, if you will. Sorry if you're a vegan, but the saying.
Yeah.
I really wanted some what I felt would be hands-on instruction. So I just went, to my friend Google and looked around the internet for any type of a course or something to get me started, and then discovered you. Yeah.
Yay. Oh my gosh, I love that. So, what was it like making the decision to invest in your education at that point? You know, did it feel overwhelming? Did it feel scary? What was kind of going through your mind at that time?
It really was very scary because, again, I had been a practicing estate attorney for 20 years. And estate planning and elder law is enough. There's enough going on in that practice area to keep you busy as far as learning, keeping up with the changes in the law, best practices. It is a niche for a reason. And that was my biggest fear was at my age, you know, and I feel very youthful and I feel like I am a very energetic person, but still, could I take on such a tremendous amount of learning? Because again, IP is very similar to EP. There's a lot going on. So it was terrifying. Could I be competent at my journey, my current place in my practice? Would I be competent? Would I be good at this? Would I be the best? You know, yeah.
Yeah, it's overwhelming to look at your career for you 20 plus years in one area and think I'm stacking and adding on it. Even if it integrates really nicely, you know, it's still a lot to take on. So I can imagine. I can imagine. And so once you made the decision to enroll, what was that like for you?
So when I found you, I knew immediately when I watched your introductory video, you introducing yourself, talking about how your story and your background and how you got involved in intellectual property. There was no question in my mind that you would be my mentor. Um, and so I just really had to make a decision. You know, it's as simple as, am I going to do this or not? And I really believed, again, once I got to Arizona and I saw the potential for business growth, the clients who really needed our help, um, I decided to sign on with you. And then the course was just, it's just so, I, it's not a bunch of theory and fluffy fluffness, you know, it's real life practice. Step one, here's how we search tests. Here's how we use a more comprehensive search. Here's how we look at goods and services. It was just so bullet point. And it really, I feel like it spoon fed me, but it was still at an very intellectual level. And then aside from the phenomenal course that you offer, the Facebook group is where I continue to be to learn and become the best IP attorney I can be because of the peers, my peers, the people that you have brought in, the best. They're the best, and I learn from them daily.
Yeah, it's remarkable how you can monitor a group and see other people's questions and learn because you're like, I didn't even think to ask that, let alone, and I have no idea what the answer is, but I wouldn't even have thought to ask that because I'm not there yet in my practice. But you're starting to get that exposure, and that part I can't take credit for. I mean, people are happier in this area of law, and it just exudes, I think.
Well, I think that's true, but I think you can take credit for it because it's the people you attract. It's the attorneys that you attract, and uh, and you know, we all, I think as lawyers, we all have this insecurity about, you know, asking stupid questions. And I have never been so engaged with a group who is so kind and courteous, and there are no stupid questions, and people will respond to you. And sure, you want to you want to do a search and do your due diligence to make sure you're not being repetitive. There's a lot of questions that get asked over and over. But no, I truly feel at home there. I feel comfortable, and I wouldn't hesitate. And I've reached out to other attorneys in the group, and they've been more than happy to help me. Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, that's what I like to hear. You know, I want to hear that you have support in yourself with the material and confidence. I want to hear that you feel supported by me and lots of avenues to talk, right? Whether it's the monthly Zooms, whether it's DMs, whether it's in the groups or the calls that you get with the program. And then that you feel support on that last level of community and making sure that you have people to chat with. Because it can be very isolating, this thing that we do, practicing.
It is very isolating in some ways, especially since it's it's kind of a two sides of the same coin where it's isolating, but yet what incredible freedom that we have as IP attorneys to practice virtually and wherever we want to be. Um, so it's fun, in particular, watching you and another one of our colleagues. It's like I open Instagram, I'm like, "Where's Sonia today? Handler today."
It's
It's
Yeah, it's so much fun. And a lot of people don't realize this, but she's one of my alumni also. So she's one of my best case studies is that she has also, again, built, I mean, we're on 600 and something lawyers that have gone through this program, and to see every single person's sort of trajectory, what they did with it. And freedom means something different to everybody, right? It could be time with your young kids. It would be, I know that your son went off to college, so it's freedom to explore your hobbies, right? Now that you're not in mom mode, or to go see him at whim if you want to, right? For us, it's getting on a plane and traveling because, that's what we're doing right now. And it's just so, the freedom is this incredible thing that I think has been dangled as a carrot for lawyers. Like, oh, only the few lucky get to. But why shouldn't we open that possibility up? And if it's a matter of just knowing about other practice areas, I'm happy to do that. So,
absolutely, absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. And I'll say, not to get too personal, but I have some personal issues going on in my own life right now with my husband. He's battling a health issue, and he's going to be fine. But I find myself really needing, as his caregiver currently, really needing to spend a lot of time at my home office. And I could not do that if I was predominantly estate planning and needed to be here all the time. So
Yeah.
it's changed the trajectory of my business and my life.
I'm so sorry to hear about that. And it's health battles of a loved one are something that I know about too. And it's nothing makes it easier. And you're right. I mean, what is needed of you is presence, is yourself. And so the fact that you can still carry on your other obligations while being there, and family for most of us comes first. Our personal lives demand that of us. So the fact that you're able to be present and show up in a way that's really important for you right now without everything falling by the wayside, but in fact sounds like it's thriving. I mean, that it's like an unheard of scenario, right? Like how are you able to literally do everything? And it's choosing wisely in terms of practice areas in a sense.
It's very true. And I have talked about this with my business coach when my husband first got sick. Um, it's this primal brain that we have that we initially say, that's it. I'm packing it in. I can't do this. I have to focus on my husband. And the truth is that this is the perfect scenario that now I'm in my home office. He needs me. I'm right here. My clients need me. I'm here. It
Yeah.
I don't think my firm could have survived
Oh
without
my
this.
gosh.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Wow.
life
Wow.
is good. It's all good.
What a story. And you're right. I mean, to be able to even just plan out your work days where, in our line of work, you don't have to be at it every minute of every hour because it is so cyclical, right? You may have a stage of searches, and then you leave your clients for a couple of days to get back to review it. And then you may have a wave of applications that you submit. But by definition, our deadlines are 3 to 6 months apart. And it takes 10 months to hear back, right? So there are lulls where you're generating business, maybe giving your time to the other side with estate planning, but also frees you up to show up in areas that are really important. And I went through the same thing with my dad last year. I was in a hospital room with him all the time with my computer, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm running my law practice from his hospice, like his hospice care. Like, this is crazy. But it's,
Yes.
yeah, no calendar, no or I should say no scheduling calendar, no litigation, no courtroom. You're in charge, right? So you even have the
Yes.
decision to say, I can't take this meeting right now because my husband has a
Yes.
doctor's appointment, right? So yeah, it's freedom, it's autonomy, mobility to have those choices. So I'm sure a lot of people listening are like, wait a second. So you just took the course and now you have this great life. Like there had to have been a bunch in between. And I know everyone's story in between because I'm a front row, I have a front row seat to it. But for those listening and those watching that may be intrigued because they may be in a similar situation or they may be wanting to have the same level of freedom, could you talk to us about especially that first kind of ramp up period? Maybe it was while you were taking the course or directly right after while you're putting these pieces and your knowledge together to launch this practice area. What did that look like for you?
So it was really just a matter of starting simple. I mean, yes, I already had a very established law practice. And so the first thing that we did was made the announcement to all of our current clientele that we had opened an IP division. And so if you all don't understand how valuable your email list is, I'm going to tell you now. It's an asset. Unlike social media, your email list is an asset that you own, that you have control of, and no one can take that away from you. So we sent out our emails and newsletters about our, opening the practice, and we received, many clients who were really excited about it. And one of my first clients was an estate planning client, and so our very first trademark application was with this gentleman, and so yeah, I mean it starts slow, and you have to market, and you have to get the word out there. Um, and social media, the last few years, that's where we've been hanging out because of the pandemic. And I find personally that that's where a lot of the entrepreneurs and the creative people who are looking at building a brand, that's where they are on Instagram, TikTok, like it or not. We've been wildly successful with social media.
Yeah, if any of you are on TikTok, you got to see what is your if you care to share. I think your TikToks are amazing.
It's Mindful Counsel is the handle.
Amazing.
Yeah. And we've grown. I used to do it all myself. Oi, that's a recipe for burnout. But now, we've again, the IP has grown, practice has grown so much. We have a dedicated marketing team who does all of our Instagram, and so yes, we get referrals from other attorneys. We get referrals from all of our referral sources and clients. But with intellectual property and trademarks, social media is where we get the majority of our referrals.
I love it. I love it. And how long has it been at this point since you've taken the course between now and then?
Gosh, I want to say
Probably about 2 years, if I had to guess, maybe
at
three.
least between 2 and probably moving into 3 years.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like we initially connected maybe summer of 2020. It was like dead in the middle of the pandemic, if I
Yes, it
remember.
was.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Yeah.
was.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
And so we went from let's call it 2.5, 3 years. We went from this being something you're kind of curious about to a full-fledged practice area where you have, it sounds like plenty of clientele, a ton of social media powered with team members at this point. I mean, what has that road looked like for you in terms of that growth? How would you say that the course or the material helped you in that process or contributed to that growth?
Well, it was the foundation for this incredible, I call it a brand because our brand is Mindful Counsel, but 2 weeks to trademarks and everything affiliated with it was the foundation that we needed to build this amazing house on. And this was a vision that I had, years ago back in Maine, but I just put it aside because, for whatever reason. But it starts with learning how to file your first trademark application. I mean, you have to get into the trenches and you have to do the work. And now I'm at a point where I have an incredible paralegal who, she's doing all of the trademark applications and the searches, and I get the good stuff. I get to meet with the clients and talk about the client's vision, and then the great thing about the IP clients is they come back so often. They are always in the pipeline for more work. It's like that with estate planning, but usually we create an estate plan and they're good for a while. People are like, where's that for a while? But I find with creative entrepreneurs, we have a lot of repeat clients, and we want our clients for life. So that's also how we've been, I think, so successful, is keeping our clients informed, keeping them nurtured, keeping them warm, and loving them, and they'll always be here.
There's a lot of secrets, and you have such a great personality and such a warm demeanor that I'm not surprised that you have repeat clientele and people who, I just love being around you. I love talking to you. I love watching your videos. I'm like, you just exude this charisma. So that does not shock me whatsoever. But I know that a lot of people who are exploring another practice area, thinking about making moves like this, they get caught up on certain things like the what if or the how would this. And so obviously with any practice area, and I say this too, that it's all fun and games to learn a practice area, but unless you have someone to do it for, lots of clients to do it for. Do you feel like the course and my material and just the program and everything, do you feel that not only did you learn obviously the practice of the area, but did you feel like it prepared you to market and to close more business and to actually grow the practice as well?
Of course, absolutely. And I will say that as far as the investment of the course, that was paid with the first client.
Amazing.
I mean, that's a no-brainer.
We love that.
And we charge what we're worth. Back in the day when I started off in estate planning, I'm not even going to repeat, what I charged for my services. I didn't do that with trademarks. After 20 years, I know my worth, and I know that the time and effort that I dedicate to my clients. So you've got to charge what you're worth, and if you do that, the investment is taken care of immediately. And then a lot of other things that I worried about in the beginning, before I even started practicing, I thought, well, what am I going to do if I get an office action? Don't worry about that. That's going to come. That's going to come. But learn. I really focused on learning how to perfect that trademark application. And when the office action came, not come that often, by the way, for us anyway. We're not the substantial ones, but when that comes, then you're going to learn how to handle it.
Yeah.
And I know, and you have within your group and your course, you have more offerings that are so invaluable. There's more education and there's more to learn once you get into the initial 2 weeks to trademarks.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so glad that you felt like you got, not only just the substantive, but preparation on how to do kind of the business stuff, how to do the client relationship and marketing stuff too.
That's right, because we did invest in, or I invested in the building the empire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Which, I mean, look, if you're going to invest in learning a new practice area, you also need to market it, and you have to understand how to get clients. And that was, I have to say, in many ways, that was even more valuable, right? For us.
Well,
Yeah.
that's exciting. Okay, so if you're speaking to anybody who's thinking about the course at all, or maybe trying to decide between the two, do you feel that choosing the Empire version served you really well? Okay, good. That's so good to hear.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because again, I feel that had I just focused on the course, well, okay, this is all wonderful, and this is great, and look how smart and capable I am to practice trademark law. Well, what next? I mean, we are only lawyers. A lot of us do not understand how to run a business and how to market, so that the experiences that you shared on how to get clients, I use it to this day, and it
I
works.
love that. That makes me so good. Oh, that makes me so happy. It's great to see, what everybody has done with the material and what direction they go with it. And oh my, you have taken off. So you touched on an important point, which I think is something that any business owner, any person thinking about investing in their education thinks about, which is ROI, right? Getting a return back on my investment, and whether it's $5 or $5,000. And so, we can stay as general or get as specific as you would like. But I think people always are curious about numbers and about trajectory and about growth. And so, to the extent that you're comfortable, like I said, however general or specific, would you want to give listeners an idea of kind of where you were at revenue wise, number wise, before you and I came into contact versus where, what those numbers look like and where you are now, or just what that growth has looked like numerically for people? I think it's exciting for people to see the potential from a actual quantitative standpoint.
Of course. So what I will say is, and I know these terms sound cliche, but in what took many, many, many years in estate planning, we doubled our revenue with the trademark practice in 2 years. So what I mean to say is what we were doing with estate planning, we matched that in IP in 2 years.
Wow.
Yes. It's much, I don't know, maybe it's the way that I've learned to sell trademarks, but it's much easier, I have found, to retain clients in business law and in trademarks than it is with estate planning.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. But I cannot stress how you have been so instrumental in changing the trajectory of my business and my life. And I love my life. I love my law practice.
Oh my
I
gosh.
cannot believe I get to get up every morning and do this. I mean, and the clients are happy. They're creative people. They all have visions. They all have aspirations of where they want to take their $1 million business. And we get to be a part of that. I mean, I don't know what's better. I don't know what's better than that.
I am speechless, and which is not something that happens often. I'm just like, it's not common that I don't have, but I literally have goosebumps, and I'm just like hearing this. I'm floored because it's the money is one thing, but I mean, just to hear how happy you are, contentment, joy, genuine, just, I mean, that's something that I feel that every lawyer deserves. It's just unfortunate that the profession has become so demanding of us in certain areas. And it's like, why suffer through that?
Yes.
Yeah.
And like it or not, we are in a massive shift right now on this planet, in this world. I'll get a little woo-woo here and I'll call it the age of Aquarius. Things are changing.
Yeah.
And it's going to be about quality of life for people now.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been, again, it's allowed me to create a quality of life for me, for my family, to pay my son's college tuition in full. Thanks, Baylor.
Oh my
Sycamore
God.
Bears, it's
Incredible. And
yeah, yeah.
wow. Wow. And what that can do on a generational level, because now your son will graduate without any student loan debt. And
Yes.
imagine the things that he can do, the opportunities he can take without worrying about what it pays, because it's something that he's passionate about or interested. I mean, oh my gosh, this is the stuff that people dream. I'm so excited. Like
Yes.
this is what
Yeah.
dreams are made of. Yeah.
Right.
This is
And
truly the American dream. It's amazing.
it is. It is. And look, I'm not going to sit here. I don't want to sit here and candy coat everything. this is hard, and anything that's worth its weight is going to be hard. You have to study, you have to learn this stuff. It's very important. But that's what we do as lawyers. We know hard. We thrive on that. You can do it. And so but you need a community like yours. You need a community to help build your practice. Keep apprised of all of the laws and the cases, and it's just, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going.
Oh, you are unstoppable. I truly, just having a front row seat to everything you're doing is just, and I turn around and you've launched this new thing, or you're doing this new spin on something. And I'm like, you have a knack for taking the ordinary and putting your own charm on it. It's so cool to watch. It really is.
I appreciate that. But
Yeah.
and the one thing that I have learned, and I'll say that it's the branding has really become top of mind for me now as a business owner, because I'm seeing what happens with how do you use intellectual property. It's not just about, oh, it's trendy and hip and cool to have a trademark. No, I mean, it is, but that's not why. That's not why we protect our IP. It should be an income generating asset. It should evolve. It should help us to grow our business and expand. And that's what I've learned about my own brand, from being involved. So it's been fun.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible, incredible to watch. You touched on something that I think hits a point of curiosity for others, and I just wanted to dive into it for a second. You said that IP clients, they come back and you retain them. So is that repeat work that you're getting, or just new stuff that they're coming back with? So would you say then, or is it safe to say, I should correct that there is enough work in this practice area, that it is abundant enough? Because I think that's a concern, and it's a point of curiosity for a lot of people. Like, okay, well, is there enough to go around where everybody can eat, you know?
Yes, more than enough, more than enough. And I've always tried really hard to not get caught up in that scarcity mindset. I refuse to be handcuffed by a scarcity mindset. So I believe that about estate planning. I believe that about family law. I believe that about all areas of law. There is more than enough to go around for all of us. But yes, with respect to the trademark practice, once you are able to successfully obtain that registration for that client, they are coming up with more. They are always, and they are excited, and they now are familiar with the process. They understand what it takes, and so as long as you treated them right, and we're very big on client service here, they will be back. They'll be back, and so and they are truly, clients are the most, they're the greatest referral sources, and they're the source of the most of the profit and the revenue of the firm. So
Yeah. Yeah.
continuing clients.
Yeah. Amazing. I I'm still reeling off of some of the stuff you've told me about being able to pay for your son's tuition, to be able to do these things. I'm just like, it's just, I'm stuttering on camera because I'm just like, I don't even know what to say, because it's just like, just an incredible feeling to be able to watch this come to life, and to know that my work, that my program had a hand in this. It's really, really remarkable. I know that a lot of people watching and listening to this are going to be so inspired by your story, that they're going to be so motivated, because why can't they do it too, right? What would you say to somebody who's on the fence, maybe not just about the course, maybe, but also just about thinking about trademarks in general, adding it or transitioning to it? What would you say to someone who's just trying to sort all this out right now?
Yeah, I'd say that, I don't want people to just, jump on it because, well, it's another practice area that's very lucrative, and we'll just add it. Please, please have good intentions and have a passion for it. And you likely will, once you get knee deep into it all. the investment in the course is a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer if you price your services accordingly. It will be taken care of with your first client. You have to understand that you have to market your new practice division. You have to, or you won't get the clients.
Yeah.
So, and I will also say, if anybody wants to speak to me individually, I am more than happy to send you my scheduling link. If you have particular questions or concerns, I'm happy to chat with anybody about this because I believe in it that much. You have to want it. I mean, you have to be dedicated to it and devoted to it. But other than that, there should be nothing stopping you. There's so many upsides to it. Now, the downsides, look, you're dealing with the USPTO. It is what it is, right? They're a federal bureaucracy, and they take the time that they take to process the transactions, and it is what it is. And but I just feel like the good outweighs the bad in so many respects. Yeah.
I agree with that too. People often ask me, okay, well, it's flat fee, it's paperless, you can do it from anywhere, you don't need a special bar. There has to be a catch. I'm like, well, there's a couple catches if you want to call them that. And there are in every, there's no perfect practice area, there's no perfect career, but I think it nets out really well too. Like you said, you have one, you're dealing with the PTO and so much stuff is out of our hands. Okay. Well, it's the same thing with judges and juries. It's out of your hands. Your malpractice insurance, is impacted. I mean, it's one of the higher priced areas to insure. Okay. And really the last thing, which I think is probably the biggest, and you touched on it already, is that there's an onus on you to create content to get out there, whether it's social media, right, which is the route you've taken, whether it's referral building, which is another aspect of what I teach, whether it's just straight ads, which is not something I'm a huge fan of, but can work in conjunction. But you got to pick a route, and I liken it to fitness. Like you have to work out you have to stay active in this life if you want to be healthy. Okay, you can be a runner, you can do yoga, you can lift weights, you can swim. Pick your what's the phrase in English? Is it pick your poison or pick your fancy, But you got to do something. And I think that's how it is with trademarks too, is that you've got to do something, but you can't just throw your name on a billboard and expect the calls to come in. You do have to put the time in.
That's correct. And I'll admit something, and I'm sure that our colleagues are all feeling the same way now with artificial intelligence. Okay.
Yeah.
We use a lot of apps and artificial intelligence software for our marketing. Now, I don't use it for substantive legal work, but for marketing, there are so many incredible websites out there, Chat GPT. It's craziness. It's absolutely, be very responsible when you're using it. And absolutely, you need to confirm that what Chat GPT is spitting back at you is accurate. But it's not so much even about the substantive information. We use it to come up with ideas. Just type into Chat GPT. What do you want to post about trademarks on social media? What are the most frequently asked questions, which you will get from Sonia if you sign up for her class? She gives you a whole list. Yeah. What are the most frequently asked questions, or what are blog ideas? You guys, it's so easy to market these days. Yeah.
It's never been easier. I talk to Chandler a lot, who is, oh gosh, I backed myself into this, but I am 9 years older than her. And so, we have sometimes the big sis, little sis conversation. And, she asked me like, why I don't, why you're not as really present on social media as a lot of like your students are. And I'm like, I started Trademarks at a time where none of this was an option. Instagram had barely started within the first few years, and no lawyers were on Instagram. So I built my trajectory on foot, right? Literally hitting the pavement. And I'm like, I tell my students all the time, it has never been easier to build a business, to market yourself from the comfort of your laptop. I have yoga pants. I have a nice shirt. I have yoga pants underneath, and no one ever knows. You're just doing everything from your fingertips. And to know that you can take your phone and turn it on and just start talking. and build clientele that way. I mean, it's never been easier. So, you know, and it's one thing for me to say it. I'm a big believer in illustration, and that's why I love doing these interviews. I love capturing these stories because people don't have to take my word for it. You know, they can hear it straight from the mouth of someone who did it not even, you know, 20 years ago. They just did it the last couple of years during and after a pandemic, during and after a recession. You never really know if you're in one until you're out of it. You know, who are we in one? Who knows? But despite all these factors, you've created a thriving business, and it's only upward from here. And you are just, oh, you should be so proud of yourself. And I know you are. You should be. I know your family is. I know your husband is very grateful. I mean, it's incredible.
I am, yeah, but it's been, you know, it's been a lot of fun. And you know, I'm not trying to throw any shade at our colleagues who practice criminal law, family law. Yeah, that is not me. You can tell by my personality. I'd be eaten alive in the courtroom. That's not me. But I have so much fun with our clients, you know, helping them choose names for their trademark name, building a brand. I mean, it's blast. It's not really like work at all.
It's if you choose wisely, it's not, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
there's aspects of it, but if you're going to practice law, this is one of the best ways to do it. And I think it's a lot of fun too. Well, in the spirit of mindfulness, I do want to be mindful of your schedule and that you obviously have tons to do. I love to wrap up with one last question for our viewers, listeners. If you had to sum up your review testimonial of my course, everything you've taken from me in just a couple sentences, what would those sentences be?
Let's see. I would say that it is impactful information without extraneous fluff that can be implemented immediately. I mean, it's implemented on day one, and it's everything you need and nothing you don't. And I know that's more than two sentences. Sorry.
That's okay. I'll take it. Oh, that makes me so happy. You know, because I mean, from my end of it, right? I think I put, you know, 13 plus years of a career into something and try to bottle it all up. And then you just hope it's decent. You hope it's good. But for it to be this extraordinary thing that created extraordinary results over and over and over, you're just like, I'm in awe of it. There's not a day that goes by that I don't think about it because I get messages, I get to do these interviews, I get an email, and it's just so cool.
It is, and the way that you've packed it and created it, it has a life of its own. It really does, because of the community that that you have built around it as well. And to me, that's what's changed everything. I have a connection with you. It's not just a course that I paid for and I watched the course and I implemented the ideas. You know, we have a relationship.
Yeah. 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 You have a friend in me. I tell people you have a friend in me, you have a sister in me, you have a mentor in me. Or just at the very minimum, you can vent to me. I know so much stuff about so many people because they're just ideas, but I'm glad that people, I'm glad that people feel like they can vent. And that's such a big part of it, because embarking on something like this can be so overwhelming. But I think when you have examples like yours, I mean, it is really inspiring. And I hope that anyone watching this knows that you can also do this. There's no reason you can't.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
You're incredible. Congratulations on all your success. And as I always like to say, whenever I give a cheers, I do this, but I always say, may this be your worst year in business so that it only goes up from here.
Love that.
Yeah, that's my favorite cheers to give. So Virtual Clink, thank you so much for your time, for sharing your story, and just for being so vulnerable and honest with everyone and with me, because I think it really, really helped to hear, you know, your story and just the path you've taken. So thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Have a great rest of your day. Bye.